meet again. Irish Deathbed Visions. 12 seconds. 13 seconds. Only top fans will be sticking with me. Elizabeth from County Cork. Some years ago, I lost a well-beloved sister to a malignant tumour. It was a tumour in the stomach, I think. There was no cure for it. The medical people couldn't do much more. She had become incapacitated with the passage of time and was in a lovely nursing home. Her immediate family looked well after her. She was in good enough shape, though sometimes she didn't realise where she was. Occasionally she got confused. Towards the end, she had great difficulty breathing and she was refusing to die. The doctor warned me that death was coming. I presume she knew was coming too, although I'm not sure if they had told her everything. But she certainly clung to life. I was in my nephew's house the evening she passed away, and having supper there. He and his wife had been extremely good to my sister, as had all the family, and had given her very loving attention. My nephew was exhausted as a result. He said, "I'm extremely tired, so I'm going to lie on my bed and have a rest, and I'll join you later at the nursing home." His wife and I headed off to the nursing home, and I remember saying, "God rest us tonight." I hardly knew why I was saying it. I'm a bit cowardly in the face of death. I suppose many people are. So initially I almost refused to go into her room. My niece, who was there, didn't want to go in either. There were 4 other members of the family in the room. The medical staff seemed to have gone off the scene and disappeared. They had withdrawn quietly. Maybe that's what they're supposed to do. Normally my sister needed oxygen, but they didn't provide it. I felt it was an indication of what was coming. I just kept praying a psalm out loudly, and I said to one of her sons, "Light the candle," which he did. She was having great difficulty breathing. One of her sons said, "This can't go on. It can't go on." He said it in desperation, and I think it helped her to go. Eventually she passed away. It was around 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening that she passed away. Sometime after my sister's death, my nephew told me what had happened to him back in his house on the night she had passed away. He told me that he was resting at home in bed. He distinctly saw his grandfather and his uncle coming towards him. I don't know how he would have recognized his grandfather or his uncle. They had passed away years before. Both were well regarded and very fond of the family. He was awake when it happened. This wasn't a dream. It was for real. He thought they were coming for him and he was frightened. He connected it that way. He said, "Please go away." At that moment the phone rang and he was told that his mother, my sister, had just died. That was clearly an extraordinary experience. My nephew was an extremely solid person. He wouldn't exaggerate or hallucinate. He was very down to earth and sensible. When he told me, it was obvious that what had occurred had been real. However, he was very psychic and aware and had an uncanny ability to see these type of things. I asked him how he interpreted the vision. He said, "Maybe they were thanking me for all the care I had given her. Or maybe they were saying, 'It's over now to us, you can rest.'" He felt they had come to him for one of those reasons. They were the only interpretations he could think of. I accept what happened for what it was. I was in Iona recently and they talked about a thin place. That thin place is the veil between heaven and earth and is part of our Celtic heritage. It is a very thin veil indeed. A deceased person can therefore cross back from the other side, I think. This is possible. Extraordinary things can happen. Recently a small but strange thing occurred involving me. My neighbour had died and a friend of mine who was abroad had known her well. I wrote and told her that the lady had passed away. My friend wrote back and said, "She has a daughter and I would be grateful if you could get me her address." Did a bit of research, but I couldn't get it. I said to myself, I'll just send an email back and suggest that maybe my friend could write a letter to the mother's address. It might get to the daughter, even though the house is empty. As I was writing it, I thought, let me run out and check the address. I was wondering whether, even though the house was next door, it carried the next street number. I went out and found the door of the woman's house open. The daughter that I had wanted to contact came out of the house at that moment. Apparently she was passing by and just looked in. Little coincidences like that happen, and I wonder about them, about thin places. I believe deceased relatives come back to those who are dying. I've heard many stories like this, and I think they are connected to this thin veil. My brother, for example, said that he saw his mother coming into the room when he was dying. And a lot of people are visited by relatives from the other side. I believe Christ can be with the person in their struggle, just like the struggle he went through when he was dying. I really don't know why it happens. Death, I suppose, is momentous and can be a terrible battle. Maybe the moment of departure can bring peace, but death itself can be an awful wrench. As St. Paul said, the last enemy to be put underfoot is death. Maybe then these things occur to strengthen people who are passing away. Certainly, the type of phenomenon experienced by my nephew does seem to happen, and it has happened to many others apart from him. That's an interesting excerpt from this book, which is called We'll Meet Again, Irish Deathbed Visions. Who you meet when you die. Yesh Degra Phantom Dealish. Their souls to heaven.